So, Jack, as the World Cup gets nearer,
Yep.
we need to talk about the defending champions and the defending champions curse. Now, we've seen this on multiple occasions with France in 2002,
Crazy. And it
Italy in
also,
2010.
for anybody watching, first of all, subscribe, because come on, do us a favor, like the video too.
Ah,
But like, this is mental. I think this is like one of those things. I feel like you and I talk about it and everyone else talks about it like, oh yeah, the curse of the people who win. This is mental.
Jack,
If this was in any other sport, you'd be like, what? Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. The people who win don't make it out of the group stage or maybe don't even qualify for the next tournament. That's crazy. That is crazy.
To think about it, in the last 5 World Cups, 4 of the defending champions haven't made it out of the group stages. Germany, we know how efficient Germany is.
100%.
They didn't make it out of a group stage in a poor group.
And what's
Spain,
crazy as well, if you take, what do you take, 27 players or whatever, more than likely in a 4-year period, it's going to be like probably 17, 18 of the same players. The turnaround of players over a 4-year period, it's big, but it's not big enough that you'd be like, oh, it's a completely new squad. Like, the same names are in there, especially in the starting 11.
But Jack, let's talk about France.
Yeah.
Now, they are the defending champions. And I remember when we did our World Cup prediction video, I was asked, well, what team was going to be the biggest failure? And I had France. And I had it for reasons of, we all know what's going on. We all know how disharmony is like in a French team, and it's been like that for many years. And we've seen what it was like in the Euro with the fight with Rabiot's mum, Mbappe, and all that sort of stuff there. We know that is lingering in the background with the egos there. But now with injuries of N'Golo Kante, who played a pivotal part in France's success in the last World Cup and also previous tournaments, and also Paul Pogba, who was recently found out that he's going to miss out on the World Cup after just being injured, after re-injuring himself, but he's been out for 6 months, so it's not really a surprise there. But having those two integral parts of the midfield, like been in the heart of midfield the whole time for France, having those two players missing, are we destined to look at France and be like, ugh, they're not going to be the same force that we know them to be?
I think you know what I'm going to say. I'm hesitant to say that because the talent is crazy. And I know you are not sat there going, I just don't know if France can hack it. I don't know if they've got the players to be able to. I know you're not doing that. You're doing it based on a very well-documented precedent of old winners, a very well-documented precedent of the way this France squad and the egos within it and how they interact with one another. But I still can't pull the trigger on saying that it's not going to be good. And here's why. We talked about this before we, hit record here. Pogba and Kante might not even start for this team. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I've got it up here. Tchouaméni is Real Madrid and playing great. He has really good cohesion with his midfield partner that will probably grow and grow over the next 10 years of Camavinga, who's also really, really good. You got Christopher Nkunku in there as well, who's obviously more of a 10, a little higher up on the field, but in terms of goals and assists and a bit of a stats monster for a team that's good but not great, he's overachieving at a team of that nature. That's incredible as well. Go down the depth chart as well. Tanguy and Ndombele's got kind of a new lease of life in Italy, right? Nabil Fekir is still knocking around. Adrien Rabiot still exists. Even players like Guendouzi are in there and can do a job. So the midfield needs to reinvent itself. Pogba and Kante are very, very unique players in their own right. And obviously, they're kind of having to move pieces around. Also, I don't think we can underestimate the impact of Theo Hernandez as well at left back. I'd argue you have the best left back in the world, maybe, especially from an attacking sense down that left flank now. France have always had okay fullbacks, the likes of, your Patrice Evra's historically and all this kind of stuff, but nobody quite as influential in an attacking sense as Theo Hernandez down that left-hand side. I understand where you're coming from with the capitulation. Mbappe, that ego is, that's out of sight now. Mbappe's ego. Benzema's just won the Ballon d'Or. How's that going to make Mbappe feel? Blah, blah, blah. Ousmane Dembele. I get where you're coming from. I'm not ready to say it will capitulate. But James, I'm not going to sit here if they don't make it out of the groups and go, James, you didn't say this would happen. This hasn't happened before, because it has. It totally has.
And Jack, I look at the president right now. I think the last 6 games, I think they failed to win in the last 6 games.
Right.
And it isn't like they're going against like nobody. Jack, one of the team that they played against was Denmark, and like they will be playing Denmark, in the group stages. So it's,
Right.
to me, you're right, Jack. The attacking talent is there, but this French team just gave me that vibe of just, it stinks of something not right.
Right.
And I look at somebody like Didier Deschamps in like somebody like Zidane's
Surprised
comments
he's
mentioning.
lasted as long as he has, by the
He's
way.
not,
Seriously.
but
Zidane's on the
Zidane's
market.
comments,
Like,
exactly. Zidane's comments is almost like, "Oh, I will be back in management soon." So it almost feels like, okay, this is Deschamps' last dance.
I've
How
had a
many
word
players?
with the French Football
You know,
Federation.
this is what I'm saying here, and it just
Right.
feels like, oh, listen, that it's destined for me for it to fall flat on their face. But it's hard to go against the talent there. But Jack, listen, the depth is there, but
Yes.
with these players missing, is the balance right? Is the balance right to take them to the next level? Because even like somebody like Rafael Varane, he picked up an injury too. So there's different clogs of this of like the last team who were very successful. They're not going to be there. And yes, they got, listen, the depth in defense is great, you
Unreal.
know,
Yeah. Unreal.
unbelievable. But I'm just like, when it gets there, and especially like before, France were just known, okay, they're a very good team. They're now defending champions with a tag on their back. And not many teams respond well to that. And I don't know if this French team can like respond well to knowing that they have to win. Because Jack, we seen what was that in the Euros in 2006,
Right.
where they got all the way to the final, should have won it, didn't win it, and we all know what happened there. Now they're in a situation where, again, that they have to win, just like the Euros. It feels destined to kind of fall flat on their face again.
You're absolutely right, and I think it's going to fall down to the mental aspect of the game, the emotional part of the game, like we've talked about before, because the talent is not lacking. N'Golo Kante, I think the fantastic thing about him is he sticks out like a sore thumb in this French side in terms of the way he handles himself and just who he is as a person. That's a guy who does not care about himself at all. He's there for the team and he's there to help out. They do lose a huge part of their playing style in that. Can the midfield do it? Can there be enough cohesion and discipline to be able to play the role of midfielder effectively? You mentioned Varane, James, again, I'm looking at the depth chart here. Okay, Lucas Hernandez, Varane, maybe the starters. Dayot Upamecano, Wesley Fofana, Presnel Kimpembe, William Saliba, Jules Koundé. Like, it's nuts. They're fine. Talent-wise, they're fine. It's whether they can build the relationships and be disciplined enough, or is there going to be a little bit of that French arrogance to go in and just be like, you know what? We're better than all these teams, apart from maybe Brazil, maybe Portugal, like, in terms of our starting 11, maybe Argentina. And I think even, especially in the group stages, we'll just win these and it'll be fine. I'm getting ready for the knockouts. It's like, this is a World Cup. This is the biggest moments of nearly every player and every team you face in their lives. So you need to bring your A game every game, no matter how talented and good you are. And you mentioned about Zidane. We're on the precipice of a new generation for France. I don't know how much longer Benzema has left. Is Benzema maybe going to look at the next Euros and then think calling it a day? Like,
Even like
is
a player
Benzema going to
like
be the
Giroud,
is
he's closer
Benzema
to
going to be the
honoring his
starting
record.
number? Is Benzema going to be the starting number 9 in 2026 in America? Like, I don't know. I would imagine somebody will have come through. Maybe Mbappe will be demanding the number 9 spot there. But there's a few players who I just don't think we're really going to see too much anymore. James, the likes of Hugo Lloris, he's not even really the starter there anymore. You got Mike Maignan there. Starting for them. So there's a new generation coming through, and can they just swallow their own pride and remain humble enough to have success under the current manager with the current squad? Because, like I say, Zidane will be coming in, and then you've got a guy who really does know how to win the big one.
Oh yes, and talk about common egos. He seems to be the master of that. But guys, we've talked about France right now. We've seen the Paul Pogba injury. We've seen the N'Golo Kante stuff. We know what this team is capable of. We know what this team is capable of not doing. So tell me, guys, is France going to win the World Cup? Will they fall flat on their face? Comment down below. Let us know. This is Box to Box Football, Jack and James, and we will see you guys next time.